Welcome back to Real Deal Street Car Garage, where we are once again working on the Torino. If you guys are seeing this video, that's a good thing. That means I'm still alive. If you're not seeing this video, you probably won't know, but I'll be dead under the car because it is 113-degree heat index out here today. Yay. Let's get started. So if you remember from last time, we did plugs, plug wires, cleaned the carburetor and did a carburetor rebuild kit on it. We put a new starter solenoid, we put a new battery. I did remove the AC compressor. It wasn't functioning anyway, and it was kind of in the way with some other things I was trying to do. I did go ahead and install our oil pressure gauge. So now we can see if we have oil pressure while we're running the car. Another thing I did off camera was start checking brakes. Pulled the rear brakes off, wheel cylinders are shot. Everything else looks pretty decent. The pads definitely could stand to be replaced. I am gonna replace those eventually, just not yet. On the passenger side, wheel cylinders are shot also, but the adjuster cable was broken. So gonna have to replace that. I've already got one on order. Game plan for today, I would like to see if we can get something that resembles brake pedal fill. So we'll be working on the brakes a little bit. If you remember, it was running just fine out of a 5-gallon fuel jug, but we were not getting anything from the gas tank. So I'm gonna pull the fuel sending unit. I'm gonna try to blow air through the line. I'm gonna clean out the fuel sending unit. Just make sure that's not gummed up, gunked up. Plug it back in, see if we can pull fuel from the tank. We're gonna check our oil pressure. And then if we have good oil pressure, everything's good to go there, and we're pulling fuel, we're gonna let it idle for a little while and check the coolant, see if the thermostat opens, and see if we can knock off some of these little punch list items. I have some stuff that is on order at O'Reilly's that I'll be picking up this afternoon. Mostly brake kit stuff. Something else I ordered, a 1-wire alternator. The alternator that is in the car is not working, it's not charging, so I figured I might as well go ahead and swap to a 1-wire just to make things easier. Since we're waiting for parts to show up at O'Reilly's, might as well go ahead and start with the fuel system. So I'm gonna pull the fuel sending unit and douse myself with gallons of gasoline. You know, maybe something will spark and put us both out of our misery. It is already 9 million degrees and I am profusely sweating. Oh great, that hose just is falling apart. Oh, well, okay. Nothing out of that. That hose is about shot anyway. This thing appears to have a drain plug on it. It is completely covered with gunk and dirt and rust, but I may be able to drain it from here. And then just pull the sending unit. Well, let's go ahead and round her off so I can never get it out. Oh, oh, oh. Holy mackerel. I need to go buy a lottery ticket. I can't believe that thing turned. Well, briefly. Yeah. Hey. Great success. I'm just gonna guess by the stream, the weird stream that's coming out of there, that is clogged up with some stuff. Yeah, that looks a little better. There we go. Yuck. I really didn't want to pull the gas tank, but I might end up having to. I mean, I'm not seeing a ton of debris or anything yet, but there was definitely something clogging up that hole. There we go. All right. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's great. great. Yeah, doesn't look great. Not looking great. What is going on here? Yeah. The float is stuck on some sort of spring. Guys, what is that? This thing's pretty rusty. Not gonna lie. It's not great. Probably a good thing I pulled that out. Oh yeah. Yeah, we've got lots of stuff in there. The nice thing about a lot of these older cars is the gas tank is the trunk floor. So you can go through the trunk, you'll be able to get to these screws and then pull it up through the trunk. Ah yes, I almost forgot. I have yet to go through the plethora of junk back here. Let me show you what I mean. Yeah. All kinds of stuff. There's wheels, there's hubcaps, there's clothes, there's mail, there's half bottle of antifreeze, just mystery juice, piss jug. I'm gonna have to clean this out before we can get to any of the fasteners for the gas tank. Well, I got most of it cleared out. Still got some hubcaps way in the back there that I'm gonna have to climb in there to get out, but there's this covering that's covering the gas tank. I'm gonna have to rip that out. Did find some cool stuff though. Good set of jumper cables. Also this old jack, funnel, armrest. Yeah, those are trash. The original wheels, well, I'm gonna get this cleaned out and then we'll see what the gas tank looks like. Got her cleaned up and for the most part she looks good, but this isn't very promising. I'm hoping that this is mostly just surface rust, which it appears to be. I haven't been able to like push through any of it. Doesn't seem weak or anything like that. So we'll probably just be able to clean that up and reuse this fuel tank. We'll soak it in some white vinegar, slosh it out, and then put it back in, because a sending unit for this car is 35 bucks. A new fuel tank for this car, 350 bucks. So we're gonna try to refurb and reuse what we can. That should be all of those. Now, one thing I did not consider is the fuel neck. I think I'll have to lift it up, push it back. Let's pop the gas tank cap off. Holy crap. I've had this off once, but it is very rusty. There it goes. Okay. Looks like there's some bolts I'm gonna have to take loose for that to come out. And then we should be ready to pull it. Now, if any point in time in this video, it looks like I don't know what I'm doing, well, that's because I don't. I'm just figuring it out as I go. Believe it or not, you guys can do the same thing. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. Don't be afraid to jump in there and just try things. All right, got the old gas tank out. Gonna let that sit and drain so we can get as much of that out as we can. Also got it kind of sitting in the sun so some of the fumes and everything can vaporize out of there. We'll seal it off so we can wire wheel that later without blowing ourselves up in the neighborhood. I think it turned out pretty good. That spot I was kind of worried about, just some deep pitting but it's not rusted all the way through, so should be good. Here's the gas that came out of the gas tank. And for our friends at the EPA that might be watching, we're going to responsibly and effectively dispose of that. So while we're waiting on the fuel tank to off gas, I need to order a fuel sending unit for this thing, because obviously that's not gonna work. I did take a light and shine it down in the fuel tank. It's really not that bad, just some grime in there, really not much rust at all. So I do think that it's gonna be salvageable. And in the meantime, I need to run to O'Reilly's to pick up our other parts that are ready. I'm gonna order a fuel sending unit, and I'm probably gonna also order front wheel bearings, because I haven't looked at them, but I guarantee you they're shot. And I also made it back from O'Reilly's with our parts. I have 2 rear brake drums. I have inner and outer front wheel bearings and races. I have 2 rear brake adjuster rebuild kits. I have 2 rear wheel cylinders, my fuel pump gasket. So I got all that ready to go. And what O'Reilly's did not have, they weren't even able to order it, was a fuel sending unit. So I'm gonna have to outsource that, order it from somewhere else, which there are plenty of other places that have it. I was just hoping they had it while I was already there. They do not, so I'll have to order that. It'll probably be a couple days before I get it. I'm gonna have to let the tank sit for a couple days anyway with the vinegar inside of it to make sure we break everything down and get all that gunk out. Plan for that, which I have done before and it works really well. Use some vinegar from Walmart, just some cleaning vinegar, white vinegar. And then some 3/8 steel shot. Pour the vinegar in there, pour the steel shot in there. You let the vinegar sit, you shake it up. This is the agitator that breaks all the rust and grime and gunk loose. Let it sit for a couple days, pour it out, and then the tank is usually rust free. Unfortunately, the hits keep on coming. These drums are for 1 3/4 brake pads. I have 2-inch brake pads. Just called O'Reilly's. See if I can swap these out. They're the same price. I can, but they won't have them until Monday. Today is Friday. Well, it's been a few days. I now have, hopefully, the correct brake drums, which I've looked at. They look like the right ones, so I'm getting ready to test fit them and make sure. Also, since I wasn't able to do much on the car, I straightened up the garage. I moved the red Rocket out to the back, and I pulled the Torino in so that I can work on inside the garage instead of out in the driveway where I almost died. Additionally, I have the fuel tank here that is soaking in our vinegar. I did 1 jug of vinegar in. I'm letting that pre-soak, and it's been sitting for about 2 or 3 days. I have another jug, and then we'll pour our steel shot in, agitate it up, let it soak in vinegar again, and then we'll dump it, and it'll be ready for the fuel sending unit, which should be here, I think, tomorrow. So for now, I guess we'll just jump on these rear brakes. Well, the test fit is a positive, so we are good there. So now I'm going to replace the wheel cylinders, and I also have brake adjuster rebuild kits. I noticed when I pulled off the passenger side brake drum that the adjuster was, the cable that goes to the adjuster was broken. So I went ahead and ordered 2 kits just to replace them both. Took the cap off. Look at that. Yeah, yummy. That definitely don't look great. Well, it's a good thing I ordered new wheel bearings. Status check. Not good. Straight up not going well. Got the wheel bearings replaced. All good there. Went to bleed the brakes, and fluid is pouring from the rear seal of the master cylinder down inside the firewall on the interior of the vehicle. So that's great. So I wasn't able to bleed the brakes fully. I have a couple parts on order, of course. They won't be here today. So I'm kind of stuck on the brake deal for now. In other news, the power steering is absolutely dumping fluid. It's just leaking like a sieve. So I think what I might try to do is just remove that ramrod hydraulic cylinder thing and just go manual steering. It's already got manual brakes. Why not manual steering? This is what I mean by this power steering monstrosity. So you've got this ram here. It's tied in here and down there. These 2 hydraulic hoses that come in hook to this big thing that has another arm that goes up to the steering box. And it is just dripping fluid.
And I think we could just remove a lot of this crap. We don't really need it.
The brake situation is going to put us yet another day behind on seeing if we can drive this thing. I am not driving this thing without brakes. While we're waiting for parts again, let me go ahead and do some other stuff that needs to be done. I need to swap out the alternator for our one-wire alternator. I need to finish cleaning out the gas tank. Still waiting on the fuel sending unit, so I can't completely put it back in the car. This thing has just been fighting me the whole way. Old alternator is off. Power steering pump is under there. It's off. I've got the new alternator here. I did have to take these bolts loose and clock it because this battery terminal was hitting the block. So I 180 degreed it, and that way it will be out of the way when we go to mount it. These alternators are designed to do that. I also gutted the harness for the old alternator and got a power wire out of it so I can connect that back to where it goes. And then I am creating a new ground wire out of this 10 gauge, which it recommends in the instructions for this alternator. I figured the wire color in the car is already backwards from hot and ground. Might as well keep the same theme going, huh? No, that wasn't intentional. In all reality, this is just what I had. All right, new alternator is in and all wired up down there into the battery and everything. I've got it back on. Got the fan and the shroud and everything back on. Belt back on. Power steering stuff out of the way, like I said before. While I'm waiting on some of the brake stuff to get here from the parts that I ordered, I am going to go ahead and blow out this fuel line. There's where the fuel line comes from the gas tank to feed the fuel pump. So I'm going to take this air nozzle, blow it through there, and see what comes out the back. I did get our gauges mounted up. Now I have water, temperature, and voltage there. The oil pressure gauge is still under the hood so I can watch it whenever we start the car. I dumped the 3/8 still shot and the cleaning vinegar out of the gas tank. It's drying out. I also had to replace this fuel hose that comes from the hard line to the tank. This little hose here. Guys, I'm sorry this next upload is taking so long, but I have ran into a slew of problems, but I had everything ready to go. I've got the oil pressure gauge hooked up. I've got the coolant topped off. It's getting ready to fire the car up and run through the gears and everything like that so we can get it driving. The last thing I had to do was bleed the brakes, which I was currently doing. Unfortunately, I cannot get the brakes to bleed at all. Let me show you why. Went to go pressing on the pedal and brake fluid is running everywhere. Master cylinder is shot.
I ordered a new master cylinder and after a few days it came in. So I removed the old one and set it aside to make room for the new master cylinder to be put in. I installed the new master cylinder, filled it up with brake fluid, bled it while it was on the car, put the cap on, she's good to go. Put the new fuel sending unit in and popped the gas tank back into the car, and then I slid underneath to reconnect the hoses and reconnect the fuel level sensor, and also put the drain plug back in.
I've got the fuel filter installed. I've got gas in the tank. I've got my oil pressure gauge. I've got coolant topped off. We've got everything where it should be ready to go. We just need to see if we can pull fuel from the tank. I know it will run from a fuel jug. I did put the new sending unit in, so we should be good to go. Pulling a little bit of fuel, but it looks like I have a little bit of a leak around one of the fittings, so I have to tighten that up. Okay. Let's see if that fixes our fuel leak. Figured out our fuel leak. this rubber line that goes from here to there. This little line was absolutely dumping fuel right here. It's the only rubber line I had not replaced. And it was, of course, not functioning. So I pulled the fuel filter, just gave it a once over, blew it out, made sure there was no junk in there. It was fine. This was definitely our problem, leaking everywhere. I'm seeing fuel in the filter, but it's not pumping a lot. It's pretty weak. So I'm wondering if the fuel pump works good enough to pump fuel out of a jug, but it's not pulling all the way back from the tank. Another possibility is that line is just clogged up from the fuel tank. Even though I blew it out, cleaned out the fuel tank. I'm gonna keep trying with a little bit. And now it has been yet another few days because I had to order a new fuel pump. The fuel pump was bad. I had to crank the idle screw all the way down as far as it would go just to keep it running. Should not have to do that. I pulled the top off the carb, filled the fuel bowl, and noticed that fuel wasn't really pumping very much out of the needle and seat. Put this new fuel pump on, no issues whatsoever, purrs like a kitten now, runs just fine. Brand new master cylinder that I just put on was leaking from the cap. I took the cap off the old one, put it on the new one, no leaks. And after letting it warm up, so far as I can tell, the water pump and the thermostat is working fine. I can see water swirling around in there. I let it run for like 30, 45 minutes just sitting here idling and did not overheat. I have our oil pressure gauge installed in the car now, so we should be ready to rock and roll. So let's try that again. There we go. Gonna let it warm up, check the coolant. Gotta be super careful because this seat is not even bolted down. I just sat it in here for now because there's nowhere to bolt it down because the floor is rusted to pieces. Moral of the story, don't try this at home. And we're driving. Brakes aren't great, they're decent. Probably should have cleaned this windshield off before I started this journey. Look how dirty this windshield is. Jeez, what was I thinking? But hey, we're running and driving. This thing has fought me tooth and nail. It has been an absolute nightmare, but we're finally in a position to be driving it. I'm gonna have to drive like Ace Ventura because I can't see anything.
What'd you think?
Maiden voyage. It wasn't anything spectacular, but she runs and drives. Sounds like it's idling a little high. I need to adjust the carburetor. First things first though, after the test drive, made it back not leaking anything. So great, that's awesome, good to see. Made it back in one piece. I'm not gonna lie, that was a little bit terrifying with sketchy brakes, the seat not being bolted down, and completely forgetting to clean off the windshield and having to Ace Ventura my way through the neighborhood. But we made it back safe and sound. First test drive in the books. She runs and drives. Transmission works. I really didn't get it up enough speed to like go through all the gears. I just had it in drive. Seemed to work fine. Putt-putting around the neighborhood. First drive. More to come. There's a few things we need to do to get it roadworthy. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, items of concern here. The seat. We got to get this situation figured out. So, let me show you what I've got. This is the seat out of my Fox Body Mustang. I'm just gonna use the two seats out of it because I don't plan on using those seats for this build. So, and these seats are pretty torn up anyway. I've got them like taped together. They're kind of trash. But let's look at the floor here. So this car originally, as you guys know, had a bench seat in it, and the floor mounts on both sides are pretty much shot. I'm going to have to cut that out and replace that steel on both sides and fabricate some mounts for this bad boy so that we're not just flopping all over the place. All right, passenger side. Passenger side is worse. It's pretty gnarly. So definitely gonna have to replace that before we figure out a solution to bolt these seats down. But those are the only two bad spots. Other things, that door does not roll up or down. That kind of sucks. This window rolled down, but the glass has actually come out of the little like clip that it rides in. It needs to be re-glued. All of the steering components in this car need to be replaced. I mean, look at the ball joints. They're all shot. Sway bar end links need to be replaced. I mean, just everything. On both sides. The other side I think is even worse. Tie rod ends need to be replaced, ball joints, the whole nine. They're all shot. And then on both sides of the car, in the back where the leaf springs mount, the frame is shot. Yeah, that's not good. It's this spot here, right where the leaf springs mount on both sides, passenger and driver side. So those are gonna have to be cut out, re-boxed in, reinforced. I don't wanna get on this thing and then this break loose and then the car's all over the place and rear end's falling out from under it and that'll be a bad day. Those are kind of the next steps for the car to get it roadworthy, is to tighten up all those things. I would like to get a 302 intake and a 4-barrel carb for the 289. 302 stuff will bolt right to this. Probably gonna hold off on that till I get all this other crap taken care of that's probably gonna kill us if we don't. Anyway, guys, that is gonna wrap up this video. Thank you for watching as always. Comment, like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.